Welcome to this training video on analysing pupil progress data on Dr. Frost. So you can either click View Student Progress on the main dashboard, or you can go up to Menu and click Progress Data. You'll get taken to a page with your assigned tasks. You'll be able to see how many students so far have completed the task, along with the average for the task. You might notice that this seems a bit odd. For example, Expand and Simplify, 0 out of 2 students have completed it, and yet the average is 90%. So let's just go in and check that we're happy with why that is. What we're meaning is that even though this student has not yet completed the task, they have answered 10 questions, 9 of those are correct so far, and hence the current average is 90%. Okay, so let's now have a look at a particular class. So I can either have a look at a single class, or I can choose multiple classes, or I can have a look at particular individuals should I want to. Let's just go for a single class, and I'm going to choose my 7HB. So here is 7HB's assigned work, and I can see how many students have completed it. It seems that algebra review is one that the students have struggled with, so let's just go into that and take a deeper look. So here's the full breakdown. I can see at a glance that question 6 and question 11 the students have struggled with. I can see quite a lot of oranges. I've got bright orange, which means that the student has got this question correct on a subsequent attempt of the task. And then I've got brown orange, which means that the student got it correct after having a hint. So that's the difference between those two types of orange there. Let's have a look at question 6. So clearly lots of students have struggled with this. I can click View just underneath question 6, and I can see and maybe speculate why the students have found that hard. I can also take a look at a particular student's response. So this one here, the first student's got this incorrect. There's also an F there, which means that some feedback has been left. So I can just click on this cell. I can see the correct answer, and I can see the student's answer, and actually the feedback has been left from me, where I've just taken an opportunity just to explain what I think the student has done wrong there. So if you want to add some feedback, you simply click Write a comment. You can start typing a comment there, and if appropriate you can say use feedback for all who got this wrong. So that might be a helpful thing to use. If I just delete this, also when we're writing comments you can see that if appropriate and you want to write in maths text, you can just press Alt equals, and this will bring up a window where you can type anything maths related. So even though this isn't related to the question, I can easily type 2x squared. I could write plus 5/x is going to bring up the fraction button. I've even got the ability to type log, for example, and then it's going to read that. So log to the base 10 of 6, for example. So any kind of maths notation can go in there if you need it. Okay, so that's how to leave some feedback. We can take a deeper look at a particular student if we want to. So for example, this 4th student here, I can see quite a few questions are incorrect. So I might want to go into that student. I can see each of their responses. And again, at this point, I've got opportunities along the way to start writing comments to this student to be able to help them. I've also got opportunities to make the student redo the task if I feel that's appropriate, as well as these options here to unassign the task and mark as incomplete. Okay, further ways that we can have a look at the breakdown then. So we've got the opportunity to have a look at these questions by question. So we can sort by question number, or we can sort by performance if we want to. So what this means is we're going to be able to see the most poorly answered question. We're going to see all of the different student responses. I mean, every student got that one wrong, but on a different one, you get to see the correct answer. So here's question 6, and all of those student responses. And it's quite nice because it just means that it's anonymous. And as a teacher, you can see all the different misconceptions that came out of that question. As we go down, there's other questions that we might want to just take a look at. So for example, actually I think I'll just go back to by question. So the one I want to show you is question 4. So just an awareness, give your answer correct as 3 significant figures. You'll see that 8.660 has been marked as correct. In this case, it's a substitution question. The student has done the substitution correctly, and this is your opportunity as a teacher to just remind them about the need to round to 3 significant figures. Similarly, with question 5, the 3 algebraic responses are all technically correct, and there's just opportunity for you to talk about conventional notation as well as incorrect answers. So by question is a nice way to be able to anonymously look at all of those student responses and pick questions apart as a class. One other thing to show you is the download option. So if you click on this save button here, you've got 2 options. You can either export to Excel and just get a full breakdown of all of the responses, but the QLA, the question level analysis, is a really great way to get insights for the students, and you'll be able to see for each student, you'll get a report for how they have done on these questions. So I encourage you to take a look at the QLA. Okay, I'm also going to show you the mark sheet. And again, we can just select a class. So let's stick with 7HB. Now the mark sheet's really helpful for you just to be able to get a snapshot of how the students are doing over time. A few things to point out, the L is standing for late. So there was a due date set for this homework and 3 of these students have handed it in after the due date. If the cell is white or grey, then that means that the task was not completed by the student. So for this second student here, there is a difference between 5 out of 25 questions attempted on the Junior Maths Challenge homework, but not completed. Whereas the algebra review, the student did complete all 15 questions and got 6 of them correct. So this is quite a helpful snapshot for you to be able to see at a glance how your students are doing. Again, with the option to click save and with the option to export that to Word, not Word, Excel, possibly for you to be able to print off at a parents' evening or something like that. Now I'm just going to go back into my tasks one more time, and this time I'm just going to select from my test class, because the last thing I want to be able to show you is how we can look at some feedback from the students. So on this one here, this is just a Year 11 exam practice, and there are 3 questions that the student has answered, but 2 of those cells have a W in there, which means that there has been whiteboard working. Now, whiteboard working has recently been brought back to Dr. Frost with the ability for you to click on the cell and see what the student has written on their student whiteboard. Now, in order for this to save, you do need to set the task that you require the working, and then this means that you'll be able to see any working that the students have written. Now, what I like about this feature is particularly if you are using exam questions and you've also selected the feature to use exam marking, then you can change these marks up here depending on whether you think that the student can get some method marks. So if I take a look, see full mark scheme, I can click on that and I can have a look at the mark scheme that's available, and then I can decide if it's appropriate to award method marks. Now, in this case, I know that I can award 1 method mark because the student has managed to get the value of 40. So very simply, I can just click on 0 out of 3 and I can update and I can award that 1 method mark like so. And now I can see that the student gets that 1 out of 3 marks. So this is a nice feature that we've brought back into Dr. Frost for you just to be able to go through, A, look at your student working, and B, if you want to and if it's appropriate, allocate method marks, then you can do that as a feature. Okay, I hope that's been a helpful video for you to just see the different ways that you can analyse your pupil progress on Dr. Frost.